It's kind of a wonder that Dev Patel isn't in more action movies, since he has a background in martial arts and could possibly do quite well. It would seem though that he's more into drama and is well versed in this genre. It does work for him since he's gained a lot of attention throughout the years and become a very well-known face and name in the business as he's gone from one movie to another, building his career and creating a great deal of buzz around his name as his reputation continues to build. Some folks might not know about him since it could be that they haven't watched the movies he's been in, but it might be worth it to look up a few of them and sit down to enjoy a movie night while catching up on just who he is and what he can do on screen. It would be an eye-opener for certain. Here are his 5 best movies thus far. Number 5. The Man Who Knew Infinity. Jonathan Borwein of Vital Science has a lot of good to say about this movie, as it's centered on a man named Srinivasa Ramanujan, a brilliant mind when it came to mathematics, but someone that had to struggle against racial prejudice at just about every turn when he was attempting to learn the ins and outs of his life abroad. When it was found that he was a natural genius when it came to mathematics, he was sent to England to hone his skills and become even more knowledgeable, as he still needed a lot of fine-tuning. The downfall of this brilliant man, however, was that being far away from home and not used to the climate, he was simply too much, and after an onset of tuberculosis he didn't last that long. Number 4. The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. Despite the success of this movie and the next in line there wasn't going to be a third, as Ruby Lot Lavinia from The Guardian indicated, since the feeling was that the cast members were very lucky to have gotten through one movie, let alone 2. There were a lot of factors and variables to deal with, and the fact that a good part of the cast were already quite old and needed to be carefully monitored going into production only made things that more uncertain. Thankfully the movie was done and over with eventually, and no one was harmed or suffered in any big or permanent way, which was a big win as far as everyone was concerned. Number 3. Hotel Mumbai. It's not always soldiers that fight the battles, since there are times when those thrust into a terrorist situation must stand up and do the heavy lifting as well. Often this doesn't end well, but it takes an insane amount of courage to know that you're doing something right, even if that something could possibly be the last thing you ever do. While the terrorists that take over the Mumbai hotel do kill quite a few people, they are eventually driven off by the special forces operatives that arrive, thereby freeing the last of the hostages, but not before several of them are killed in the process. Being brave doesn't mean being foolish, but it does mean standing up. Number 2. Slumdog Millionaire. An old article surfaced during a search of this movie by Candace Smith writing for ABC News. The story in her article is a bit more positive than the movie, but it ran along the same lines, since the contestant she spoke of had experienced poverty as well in his own way. But during the movie it's hard to imagine anyone having a worse life than Jamal, since the challenges and the hardships he had to go through in order to finally reunite with the woman he'd met as a child, the only woman he wanted, were insanely tough, and the effort of going on the game show and actually winning seemed easy by comparison. Number 1. Lion. It's hard to imagine what it would be like to know that you had a home and a family before you were separated by mere chance from everything you ever knew. Saru only ever knew that he'd had a family he had unwittingly left behind, as he had no way to get back to them on his own and had no hope for a long time until he was adopted by a compassionate Australian couple. As a grown man, however, he went in search of his family, and despite the many frustrations and hardships he had to face, he did finally find them. His brother had been killed by the same train he boarded on that fateful night, and his mother had somehow never lost hope. This is one of those stories that many people wouldn't be able to fully understand without having lived through it. He's definitely got the talent to last for a long time.